Negative thinking is silently destroying your peace, your focus, and your future, often without you even noticing it. Most people assume their mind is their greatest ally, but in reality, an undisciplined mind becomes their worst enemy. It replays fears, magnifies doubts, and creates problems that do not even exist. One negative thought turns into 10, then into a belief, and then into a lifestyle of hesitation and self-sabotage. You may have opportunities, talent, and potential, but a negative mind can shrink all of it before you even try. Stoics understood this danger thousands of years ago. They knew that the real battlefield is not outside in the world, but inside your own thoughts. If you do not control your mind will control you. It will decide how you feel, how you act, and what you believe you deserve. A mind filled with fear avoids challenges. A mind filled with doubt avoids growth. A mind filled with negativity creates a future of regret. Stoic philosophy teaches that thoughts are not commands, they are events that you can observe, question, and replace. You are not your thoughts, you are the one who hears them. This distinction is powerful. Once you realize that your mind can be trained, disciplined, and reshaped, you stop being a victim of your inner dialogue and start becoming its master. Today, you will learn powerful Stoic rules that can kill negative thinking forever and turn your mind into your greatest weapon. These rules are not about blind positivity or pretending problems do not exist. They are about clarity, control, and rational strength. Stoics did not try to feel good all the time, they tried to think clearly and act wisely. When you apply Stoic discipline to your thoughts, your mind becomes a tool for strength, not a source of suffering. Instead of holding you back, your mind will push you forward, focused, calm, and unstoppable. Negative thoughts are like a storm inside your head that never stops talking. You replay old mistakes, relive embarrassing moments, and punish yourself for things you cannot change. You fear the future, imagining worst-case scenarios that may never happen. You create problems in your mind long before they exist in reality. This constant mental noise drains your energy, steals your focus, and keeps you trapped in anxiety. Most people live inside this storm and believe it is normal. They think their thoughts are facts, not just mental events. But Stoics understood that an uncontrolled mind is the greatest source of suffering. The Stoics believed that suffering is not caused by events themselves, but by how we interpret them. Two people can face the same situation, yet one remains calm while the other falls apart. The difference is perception. A Stoic trains the mind to separate reality from imagination, facts from fear, and logic from emotion. They learn to pause before reacting, to question negative thoughts, and to refuse to give power to destructive inner narratives. Instead of saying, "This is terrible, I am doomed," they ask, "Is this really as bad as I think?" This mental discipline turns chaos into clarity and fear into control. In this video, you will discover powerful Stoic rules that can help you break free from mental negativity and build a mind that stays strong in any situation. These rules are practical, timeless, and proven by some of the greatest thinkers in history. They will teach you how to control your inner dialogue, how to stay calm under pressure, and how to turn your mind into your strongest ally instead of your biggest enemy. By applying Stoic wisdom, you can become mentally unbreakable, calm in chaos, focused in confusion, and powerful in every situation. The first Stoic rule is to separate reality from imagination, because most suffering begins in the mind, not in the world. Your brain constantly creates stories, predictions, and worst-case scenarios. You imagine failure before you even try, rejection before anyone responds, and loss before anything is taken from you. These thoughts feel real, so your body reacts with fear, anxiety, and doubt. But in many cases, nothing bad has actually happened. You are suffering from an imagined future, not a real present. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew the mind is a powerful storyteller, but not always a truthful one. Stoics taught that you must question your thoughts like a philosopher and a judge. Ask yourself, is this really happening right now, or is my mind inventing it? Often, you will realize that your fear is based on assumptions, not evidence. You are predicting outcomes you cannot know, interpreting situations without full information, and magnifying small problems into disasters. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." The event is neutral. Your interpretation creates the suffering. When you pause and separate facts from fear, you regain control. When you learn to separate reality from imagination, negative thinking loses most of its power. Fear weakens when exposed to logic. Anxiety fades when you focus on what is actually happening, not what might happen. You stop reacting to mental movies and start responding to real situations with calmness and clarity. This Stoic rule turns your mind from an enemy into a tool. Instead of being trapped in imaginary disasters, you stay grounded in the present, where you have strength, control, and choice. The second Stoic rule is to focus only on what you can control, because most mental suffering comes from trying to control what you never could. You worry about what people think, how events will turn out, whether someone will stay or leave, whether the future will go your way. Your mind runs endlessly, trying to predict, manage, and manipulate outcomes that are beyond your power. This creates frustration, anxiety, and helplessness. The Stoics saw this clearly. They divided life into two parts: what is in your control and what is not. The moment you confuse these two, your mind becomes a battlefield. The Stoics believed that peace comes from focusing only on your actions, your thoughts, and your attitude. You cannot control other people's behavior, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control the future, but you can control what you do today. You cannot control external events, but you can control your judgment of them. This mindset shifts your power inward. Instead of being a victim of circumstances, you become the master of your inner world. You stop blaming, stop worrying, and start acting. This is not passive acceptance, it is disciplined focus on what truly matters. When you stop wasting energy on things outside your control, your mind becomes calmer and negativity fades naturally. You no longer feel crushed by expectations or paralyzed by uncertainty. You focus on effort, not outcome. You focus on character, not reputation. You focus on discipline, not luck. This Stoic rule frees you from constant mental tension. By controlling what you can and releasing what you cannot, you turn chaos into clarity and anxiety into quiet strength. The third Stoic rule is to practice negative visualization with wisdom, not fear. Most people avoid thinking about loss, failure, or criticism because it feels uncomfortable. But the Stoics did the opposite, they calmly imagined worst-case scenarios on purpose. Not to panic, but to prepare. By visualizing challenges in advance, they trained their minds to remain stable when difficulties arrived. This practice removes the shock factor. When something goes wrong, it no longer feels like the end of the world, because you have already accepted the possibility in your mind. Stoics used negative visualization to build gratitude and mental strength. When you imagine losing something you love, you begin to appreciate it more in the present. When you imagine failing, you realize that failure is survivable. When you imagine criticism or rejection, you see that your worth does not depend on others' opinions. This practice does not make you pessimistic, it makes you realistic and grounded. It breaks the illusion that life must always go your way and replaces it with calm acceptance. You stop fearing pain, because you understand that pain is part of the human experience, and not something that can destroy you. When you accept that loss, failure, and criticism are part of life, fear loses its power over you. Your mind stops catastrophizing and starts preparing. Negative thinking transforms into mental resilience. Instead of being shocked by adversity, you meet it with clarity and courage. You realize that you can endure far more than you thought. This is the Stoic secret: by facing the worst in your imagination, you become unbreakable in reality. The fourth Stoic rule is emotional detachment without becoming cold. Many people think Stoics were emotionless, but that is not true. Stoics felt anger, sadness, fear, and joy just like everyone else. The difference is that they did not let emotions control their actions or destroy their peace. Instead of fighting emotions or pretending they do not exist, they learned to step back and watch them. This created a calm inner space where emotions could rise and fall without taking over the mind. Emotional detachment is not about being heartless, it is about being wise with your feelings. Stoics practiced a powerful mental shift in the way they talked to themselves. Instead of saying, "I am angry," they said, "I am noticing anger." Instead of, "I am anxious," they said, "I am noticing anxiety." This small change in words creates a big change in the mind. When you say, "I am angry," you become the anger. But when you say, "I am noticing anger," you become the observer. You create a distance between yourself and the emotion. This distance gives you power. It stops emotions from controlling your decisions, your words, and your life. When you observe your thoughts and emotions instead of becoming them, negativity slowly loses its grip. You stop reacting blindly. You stop saying things you regret. You stop making decisions driven by fear or rage. Instead, you respond with clarity and control. Over time, this practice builds a calm and unshakable mind. No matter what happens, you stay centered, aware, and strong. This is how Stoics stayed peaceful in chaos, and this is how you can free yourself from mental negativity. The fifth Stoic rule is to live in the present moment. Most negative thinking does not come from what is happening right now, but from what already happened or what might happen. You replay past mistakes again and again, wishing you had acted differently. You imagine future problems that may never happen, and your mind creates fear before reality does. The Stoics understood that this habit of living in the past or future is the root of suffering. They taught that the only real moment you ever have is now, and everything else exists only in your mind. When you bring your attention fully into the present, your mind becomes calmer and clearer. In the present moment, you are not failing, not losing, not regretting, and not worrying. You are simply here, breathing, thinking, and acting. The Stoics believed that peace is found when you focus on what you are doing right now, not on what you cannot change or cannot control. When you train yourself to stay present, anxiety about the future and regret about the past slowly fade away. Living in the present moment does not mean ignoring your goals or lessons from the past. It means not letting them poison your mind. You learn from the past without living in it, and you plan for the future without fearing it. You act with full awareness in this moment, because this is where your power exists. When you master the present, your mind becomes grounded, your thoughts become stronger, and negativity loses its place in your life. This is how Stoics built inner peace in a world full of uncertainty. The sixth Stoic rule is the acceptance of reality. Much of human suffering comes from resisting what is happening, from wishing life were different than it is. We fight circumstances we cannot change, complain about situations beyond our control, and feel anger or disappointment when things do not go our way. The Stoics understood that this resistance is the root of pain. They believe that events themselves are neutral, they have no inherent power to harm us. It is our judgment, our interpretation, and our emotional reaction that turns them into suffering. By learning to accept reality as it is, we stop giving negativity unnecessary fuel. Acceptance does not mean passivity or giving up on improvement. It means seeing things clearly and responding with wisdom instead of emotion. When you accept a difficult situation, you acknowledge the truth without exaggeration or denial. You see the challenge, but you do not inflate it with fear or anger. You recognize setbacks, losses, or mistakes, but you do not let them define your mood, your thoughts, or your worth. This perspective allows your mind to stay calm and focused, even in circumstances that once would have triggered panic or frustration. When you change your judgment and accept reality, negative thinking loses its emotional charge. Fear of failure, regret over the past, and worry about the future all begin to fade, because your mind no longer resists what is. Instead, you respond with clarity, resilience, and rational action. The Stoics taught that freedom comes not from controlling the world, but from controlling your mind. By accepting reality as it is, you remove the power of negative thoughts over your emotions and create a space for peace, strength, and unshakable calm. This is the foundation for building a mind that is truly unstoppable. The seventh Stoic rule is remembering impermanence. Life is constantly changing, and nothing stays the same. Your pain, your problems, your successes, and even your failures are temporary. Yet, most people react as if every difficulty will last forever, magnifying small setbacks into life-altering disasters. They hold on to grief, anger, or regret as though these emotions are permanent, and in doing so, they trap themselves in unnecessary suffering. The Stoics understood that recognizing the fleeting nature of everything is a key to mental freedom. When you internalize impermanence, you begin to see challenges as moments, not as life sentences. This understanding changes how you experience both pain and joy. You stop overreacting to temporary discomfort because you know it will pass. You stop clinging to success because you understand it is not permanent, and therefore not the ultimate source of your worth. Even fear loses its power when you remember that the situation you dread is temporary, and that you have the ability to endure and adapt. The Stoics taught that by keeping impermanence in mind, you build resilience. Life's storms become smaller when you see them as passing clouds, not endless hurricanes. When you deeply understand that nothing lasts forever, negative thinking naturally weakens. Worry about the future, regret over the past, and resentment toward others all lose their grip on your mind. This perspective cultivates emotional stability, calmness, and clarity. You respond to challenges with rational thought instead of panic. You savor victories without attachment, and you endure setbacks without despair. Remembering impermanence is not pessimism, it is wisdom. It trains the mind to stay balanced, strong, and free, no matter what life throws your way. The seventh Stoic rule is remembering impermanence. Life is constantly changing, and nothing stays the same. Your pain, your problems, your successes, and even your failures are temporary. Yet, most people react as if every difficulty will last forever, magnifying small setbacks into life-altering disasters. They hold on to grief, anger, or regret as though these emotions are permanent, and in doing so, they trap themselves in unnecessary suffering. The Stoics understood that recognizing the fleeting nature of everything is a key to mental freedom. When you internalize impermanence, you begin to see challenges as moments, not as life sentences. This understanding changes how you experience both pain and joy. You stop overreacting to temporary discomfort because you know it will pass. You stop clinging to success because you understand it is not permanent, and therefore not the ultimate source of your worth. Even fear loses its power when you remember that the situation you dread is temporary, and that you have the ability to endure and adapt. The Stoics taught that by keeping impermanence in mind, you build resilience. Life's storms become smaller when you see them as passing clouds, not endless hurricanes. When you deeply understand that nothing lasts forever, negative thinking naturally weakens. Worry about the future, regret over the past, and resentment toward others all lose their grip on your mind. This perspective cultivates emotional stability, calmness, and clarity. You respond to challenges with rational thought instead of panic. You savor victories without attachment, and you endure setbacks without despair. Remembering impermanence is not pessimism, it is wisdom. It trains the mind to stay balanced, strong, and free, no matter what life throws your way. The ninth Stoic lesson is to seek wisdom instead of validation. Most people allow their minds to be hijacked by what others think of them. Every like, compliment, or approval becomes a small measure of self-worth. When approval is missing, the mind panics, doubts itself, and spirals into negativity. Stoics saw this trap clearly. They taught that external praise is fleeting, unreliable, and often meaningless. True strength comes not from applause or recognition, but from inner understanding, rational thought, and self-respect. When you seek wisdom instead of validation, your mind becomes free and unshakable. Negative thinking grows when you depend on others' approval because your emotions are constantly reacting to things beyond your control. You compare yourself to others, worry about their judgments, and bend your actions to fit expectations. This keeps your mind in a constant state of unrest, chasing approval that may never come. Stoics believe that self-respect is far more important than applause. When you measure your worth by your own principles, standards, and actions, the opinions of others lose power. Your thoughts are no longer dictated by external forces, they are guided by reason, clarity, and integrity. When you stop chasing validation, you free your mind from comparison, insecurity, and self-doubt. You stop letting imagined judgments control your mood, your decisions, and your life. Instead, you focus on becoming wiser, stronger, and more virtuous with each passing day. Stoic wisdom reminds us that the opinions of others are temporary, but the clarity of your own mind lasts a lifetime. By prioritizing knowledge, self-respect, and rational judgment over applause, you cultivate inner peace, confidence, and freedom. Your mind becomes your ally, not a slave to external approval, and negative thinking begins to fade naturally. The 10th and final Stoic lesson is to live with purpose. A mind without direction is like a ship lost at sea, tossed by every wave of doubt, fear, and negativity. Without purpose, thoughts wander aimlessly, replaying mistakes from the past or imagining disasters in the future. This is where negative thinking thrives. The Stoics knew that without a clear mission, the mind becomes its own enemy, consumed by anxiety, distraction, and indecision. Purpose gives your thoughts a focus, a meaning, and a reason to act, transforming mental chaos into clarity and strength. When you have a clear mission and direction, every thought begins to align with growth, resilience, and action instead of fear and hesitation. Purpose is not about goals alone, it is about a commitment to values, discipline, and continuous improvement. The Stoics believe that life is not meant to be lived passively, but intentionally. Every decision, every habit, every reflection should serve your higher aim. When your mind is guided by purpose, trivial distractions, criticism, and negativity no longer dominate your attention. Instead, your energy flows toward what truly matters, making you unstoppable in pursuit of your vision. Purpose acts like an anchor that keeps your mind stable even during chaos. Life will always bring challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty, but a mind rooted in purpose remains calm and focused. Negative thoughts may arise, but they no longer have power to derail you. You respond with clarity, discipline, and confidence, knowing that each step you take serves a higher mission. This is the ultimate Stoic strength, a mind that is not only free from negativity, but also driven, resilient, and unshakable. Purpose transforms thinking from a source of fear into a source of unstoppable power, guiding every action, every choice, and every day of your life. A calm mind is not born from silence, it is built from discipline in the middle of chaos. Will you continue to be a prisoner of your own thoughts, letting fear, doubt, and negativity dictate your life? Or will you take control, master your mind, and build mental strength so unshakable that nothing, no failure, no criticism, no setback, can disturb your peace? The choice is yours. Remember, true power does not come from the world around you, but from the calm, disciplined, and focused mind you cultivate within. If you found this content valuable, don't just watch, take action. Like this video, follow and subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments section. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to bring you more timeless Stoic wisdom that can change your mindset, your life, and your future. Join the journey, and start building a mind that nothing can break.